Another busy week in Strasbourg, where the Liberal Democrats have shown again that we are better in Europe and not out of Europe. We have adopted today a new law to get moving on the single European sky. We still have today a fragmented airspace that costs more than €3 billion per year extra, more than it should do. It's costing jobs, it's unnecessarily increasing our CO2 emissions. We need a more efficient airspace to relieve congestion around airports and to meet our environmental challenges. And we need it now. We have also backed tougher EU rules to combat money laundering and tax evasion. It will be much harder for fraudsters, tax dodgers or criminals laundering dirty money to get away with it. The British people want authorities to get tougher on tax dodging, but this kind of crackdown can only be delivered effectively by countries working together. A dossier I have been leading on has finally received the green light. EU minimum standards on MOT tests and roadside checks, as part of a plan to cut road deaths by 50% from 2010 to 2020. The package will raise the safety standards of vehicles from other EU countries using Britain's roads. Thanks to my efforts, it excludes controversial plans to extend MOT tests to farm tractors and trailers, as there was no real evidence that it was needed. Are you concerned about data protection and privacy? Well, I certainly am. We adopted today data protection laws ensuring that European citizens will not have to sacrifice the protection of their personal data when accessing the new online services they want. We also fought for European citizens to be shielded from mass surveillance by security services in non-EU countries, including the US, as implicated by the Edward Snowden revelations. By the way, Tories and UKIP do not seem to care about data privacy, given that they voted against any reaction to the mass surveillance scandal of the NSA. Now the Ukraine. We had to react this week to the very, very worrying situation in the Ukraine. The interim government of the Ukraine was terribly wrong to remove Russian as a national language, but there was absolutely no justification whatsoever for mobilisation of Russian forces in Crimea. There can be no fair referendum on the future of Crimea at the point of a Russian gun. Economic sanctions against Russia must be put into effect if Russia does not stand down. But this is essential that the core objective of the EU remains not a personal fight against Russia, but the protection of a united and democratic Ukraine, especially for the 8 million Ukrainians of Russian origin.